Imagine earning an extra $1,000 a month. Okay, it's a decent amount of money, but what's great about this money is you don't have to do any extra work for it. It just comes into your bank account every month. Now, that's what dividend investing is all about. It's something called passive income in which you don't have to work for. Now, what I want to do in this video is go over how do we achieve this goal? How do we achieve $1,000 a month in passive income through dividends? And I don't care what you say, I don't care how big your wealth goals are, $1,000 is a decent amount of money, especially when it comes from not having to do any extra work. Now, the one bit of work that you do have to do is the initial upfront work of learning dividend investing. Well, what dividend strategy do we use? How do we pick the right companies? And how do we actually get started in the first place? And the thing about getting started is a lot of people look at this milestone of $1,000 a month and they think, I'll never get there. That's too hard. That seems like an impossible goal. But clearly these people have not been taught the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest. You don't need to start at immediately getting $1,000 a month. No, you start small. You start rolling that little snowball that initially fits in your hand. But as you push it down the hill and as it gets momentum, it becomes easier and it becomes increasingly bigger until it's a massive snowball that can't be stopped. You know, you may start with just a couple of shares paying $1 or $2 a month or every quarter, but then that $1 or $2 starts to collect and grow on itself, and you can use it to purchase more shares, and it becomes easier and bigger as time goes along. So, how do we get started? How do we pick those initial great quality dividend stocks to build and grow from? There's a couple of things I want to share with you. For this, we're going to use McDonald's stock as an example. So the very first thing I'd recommend looking at is the forward dividend and payout ratio. So what the forward dividend is it's the amount in dividends that you receive every year. In this case, $5. Yes, that doesn't seem like much, but don't forget the principle that I told you earlier on. Compound interest does amazing things. All you have to do is get that snowball started. So the forward dividend is $5. This gives McDonald's a 2.3% dividend yield. In today's market, that's not considered too bad. Next thing you need to look at is their earnings. As you can see, it's currently $6.33. That means that McDonald's earns $6.33 every year per share. And they pay out $5 of that. The other $1.33 left over, they use to reinvest and grow their business. Now, you need to make sure that the earnings is consistently higher than the dividend payout. You don't want them paying out more than what they earn, because that means they're digging into their balance sheet and savings. Generally, it's just not a good sign. Normally for me, I'd like to see at least 30% of those earnings being used to reinvest and grow the business, and the rest of the money can be paid out as dividends. The other thing that I check out before buying is of course the dividend history. Generally, you want to have a stock that you can look back upon and see dividend increases as time goes along. So if we look at McDonald's, it's not too bad. They've increased a lot over the past 12 or so years, from $1.14 to $4.95. The one thing that I would watch out for is they did decrease their dividend in the last recession, which isn't the best sign. By the way, the site that I use for this is called Macro Trends if you want to use it also. So, start with looking at the payout. What type of dividend yield are we talking about? Look at their dividend history. How reliable are they? The next step is something that I often see dividend investors miss. You need to look at the quality of the company. Contemplate, how is this company going to look in 5-10 years time? Will they still have a strong business model? Are they the type of company that is beating their competitors or losing to them? You don't want any middle of the pack company. Generally speaking, you want those at the top. As Warren Buffett says, buy companies with a strong competitive advantage. I'll give you a couple of examples of them later on. But the thing is, you don't need $200 some odd to buy McDonald's stock and start dividend investing. You can start smaller with stocks like Bank of America, that's $25 a share. Coca-Cola, that's $50 a share. AT&T, $30 a share. There are plenty of smaller price stocks to start with and then start building from. But the one thing that you do need is to get in the habit of investing your money instead of wasting it on dumb things. Think about how much money you would save if you didn't buy that daily coffee at Starbucks. As an alternative, you made one at home. Or consider how much you would have for investing if you stopped buying dumb things on Amazon or eating avocado on toast. If you think about it, there's a lot of excess money that you could use directly for dividend investing. Instead, it's being wasted. If you want to reach this goal of achieving $1,000 a month in dividends, you need to change your habits. Every paycheck that comes in, instead of thinking, I'm so excited to spend this money, think, I can't wait to invest it and buy some more Disney stock or Pepsi or whatever stock that you've found value in. The investing mindset is totally different from the regular person's mindset. The regular person gets some sort of short-term gratification, but the investor, over the long term, gets to reach goals like $1,000 a month in dividends. It's passive income versus feeling good in the short term. Make the decision of which one you want and then pursue it. It's all up to you. But let's get back onto achieving this $1,000 a month in dividends goal. I've shown you what to look for in a dividend stock. I've shown you how to get started and the mindset you need to have. But let me show you now some dividend stocks that I like, which are a great place to start with. 3M is a stock that pays a nice dividend yield, 3.5%, and the thing about 3M is they've increased their annual dividend for more than 61 consecutive years in a row. So it's fair to say that their dividend is reliable. Currently 3M are selling for around $170 per share with a market cap of almost $100 billion. The company can be used to expose your portfolio to multiple industries, including US healthcare, consumer goods, and worker safety. They produce over 60,000 different products under several brands, so it's well diversified. Another stock I like is PepsiCo, a very well-known company. Their dividend yield is 3%, and they've increased their dividends for 48 consecutive years. So again, that dividend is pretty trustworthy. They operate under the consumer staples sector, selling obviously the drink Pepsi, but they also own Gatorade, Doritos, Cheetos, Lay's, Mountain Dew, and a bunch of other billion-dollar brands. Again, a strong company to hold. So these are just some examples of stocks that you may want to start with when getting started in dividend investing. Obviously, you want to make sure you understand the stocks before you buy anything. Those that don't understand, they normally end up losing over the long term. Trust me, I know. So the goal is to get to $1,000 a month in dividends completely passive. How much do we need invested in total to get this? And I want to be realistic here. I don't want to be like those other channels saying it's easy, because it's not easy. You have to put in the work and the time. So let me show you the answer to the question of how much you need invested to get $1,000 a month in dividends. So let's say our average dividend offers around a 3% yield per year. That means if we put in $100,000, we will get $3,000 a year. So we would need to have $400,000 invested in total to get $12,000 a year, which is of course $1,000 a month. And be aware that a lot of stocks will only pay dividends every quarter, so that could just be $3,000 every 3 months. Now, a lot of people would look at this figure and think, nah, it's impossible to get $400,000 invested in the stock market. But guys, it's doable. Again, think of the snowball effect. When you initially start, that snowball, it's tiny, but once the ball's rolling, it ends up getting very big. Now, this is why that famous book written on Warren Buffett was called The Snowball Effect, to show you this exact same principle. Most won't even bother learning it, yet alone trying it, but those who do, they're the ones who end up earning $1,000 a month in passive income. But you can't just be an okay or an average or a bad investor. You need a goal of trying to be a high quality investor, of being able to pick out those companies that are at the top of their game and will continue to be so in 3, 5, and 10 years' time. Now, you need to be able to pick those companies that have reliable dividends, a strong history, and of course a strong future with dividend payments. You want those companies with quality leaders like Steve Jobs back in the day, or Jeff Bezos today. As an investor, you got to do your research and make sure you understand all of these different parts. But you got to start somewhere. You got to start by sometimes being a bad investor. Maybe stop playing those video games and decide to start learning investing. Maybe stop wasting your money partying and put it towards dividend stocks. That's how you begin the game of growing a dividend portfolio and eventually earning up thousands of dollars a month in passive income. Like me, I don't game, I don't party, but I'll tell you what I do, and that's invest my money.